All right, welcome into another episode of the Lowdown Sports Show. This show is brought to you by the Basketball Podcast Network, presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Drew,
And I'm BJ.
and we're here to get the lowdown on all things basketball. This show, we're going around the association again. One of these days, we'll stop doing that and stick to a couple of topics for an episode for you guys. But we're going around the association again. Got a lot of things within the NBA Finals to talk about. Just bunch of different things. Questions on Klay Thompson. Is it Steph's time to get the Finals MVP? What's going on with Jason Tatum? Draymond Green talking a lot of smack. Who's going to win it? We'll keep talking about it, and in how many games. WNBA side of things, firing or parting of ways, I should say. LA, Derek Fisher no longer together. Got a little divorce.
Yeah,
Liberty starting to win some games after a lineup change. We'll talk about that and play some with it or quit it. We got some more stuff within all that, but I don't want to give it all to you in the beginning. Give you a big snippet, just not everything. Got a lot of stuff in store, is the point. And
yeah.
BJ is holding down with it or quit it, so I'm the man answering the questions today. So we got
Yes,
a lot,
sir.
lot coming up. BJ, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's stop teasing. Let's start getting in it.
All right, let's get it in. All right, starting off with the NBA side of things, BJ. It's the NBA Finals.
Yes,
Talking about it
sir.
once again. And we've seen the first two games of this series, and it's kind of continuing like playoffs have been throughout the course of this season with the double digit margins of victory. Not so much, both games haven't been blowouts. One is a blowout, sure, but
Yeah,
still in that same type of fashion. Golden State kind of scoring consistently as far as their point totals at the ends of these at 107 and 108. Boston, a flurry of game one and 120 points, and then just 88 in that game two, looking pretty rough out there.
yeah,
You expected Golden State to bounce back at their home. They always play well at home, and that was their first loss in the postseason at Golden State. So definitely a little bit of a punch in the mouth there, but they always respond pretty well here. Uh,
yeah,
Teams are battling pretty well. Steph Curry, kind of the lone man doing stuff for the Warriors, averaging about 31 and a half a game. And yeah, you would argue the stars, all the stars in Boston are struggling, even though multiple are scoring 20 a game in this series. Jason Tatum hasn't necessarily looked like Jason Tatum,
no,
and his three balls going down, but everything else is not, and he's just barely averaging 20 points a game in these first two games on the road. You gotta hope that the homestand will help Jason. BJ, what do you think's been wrong with Tatum? Why has he been struggling? Is it something Golden State has done game plan wise to bottle him up, or is it nerves of the NBA Finals?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, we saw what the Warriors tried to do. The consistently having, their opponents chase them around on defense for 23 of the 24 seconds before they bury a dagger three or whatever. It felt like that at least, and it felt like they were, target. It's kind of like what they were trying to do to Luka Doncic in the Western Finals, where they were, trying to tire him out and hoping that he would not have enough energy on offensive side of things to and the whole team would falter. And you kind of saw that in game two. Well, I mean, you didn't kind of see that in game two. You saw that in game two, even though Tatum had a better night in game two than he did in game one with the 28 points, leading almost all scorers, but definitely leading all Boston scorers. Um, but yeah, you go back to game one, and they were doing what they wanted. They had, Jason Tatum. They had the matchups they wanted against him, and they were tiring him out. And he wasn't getting good looks offensively. But then you had other guys for the Celtics step up: Al Horford, Jalen Brown, even Marcus Smart finished with more points. Derek White had more points than Jason Tatum did. So it really was the rest of the team in game one stepping up and picking up, what where Jason Tatum left off and really playing like a team. And then of course that big fourth quarter run that they had, I think was the biggest reason why they were able to, kind of seize momentum. They did what the Warriors have done this year, and they chopped away at a deficit, and and came back and responded with a win, a double digits, as you said. But then, when the rest of the team didn't step up and Jason Tatum was allowed to do what he wanted to do, then you see the Warriors just continue to have their way when the rest of the team wasn't quite as efficient as Tatum was in game 2. So that's going to be the interesting thing for me going forward in game 3 later tonight as we record on a Wednesday, and then games 4 and 5 we know for sure over the weekend and into next week that we will have, and potentially beyond that at the end of next week, is what do the Celtics do to, you know, how much are they going to be able to step up as a team and pick up some slack if Tatum's not having the best game, or will the Warriors continue to let Tatum do his thing and the rest of the team falter? If that's the case, then Drew, it may be a shorter series than we expected.
Well, I'll tell you what, it won't take Tatum a lot. Like I said, he's knocking down the three ball. Putting up 7 a
Mm-hmm.
game, knocking down 3.5, shooting 50% in this series. It's just everything else. Some of the bunnies. The mid range stuff. He usually knocking down some super hard shots.
Yeah.
And it's just I think it's mainly nerves is what Tatum's feeling right now. And in Boston, I think he can find his groove for real. Thankfully, a revelation, Derek White has been for the Boston Celtics, playing 31
Yes.
minutes per game in these playoffs so far. The third most minutes on this team, behind those two superstars,
Mm-hmm.
or two stars, in Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. Derek White shooting 41% from the field, 58 from three, giving him 16 and a half
Yeah.
per game so far in this series. And he's got the second best box plus minus on this team, right behind Jalen Brown. So he's been really effective in helping keep them in it. And believe it or not, BJ, and it kind of seems like we're saying like Boston's kind of struggling, and which they did in that last game
Yeah.
to a certain extent. This series is still pretty evenly matched in regards to just looking at the stuff on paper right now.
Yeah.
Rebounds, 40.5 Golden State, 41 Boston, pretty much the same. Assists, 28.5 Boston, 24.5 Golden State. Not too much separation. The
No.
only real separation is this right here: the steals. Golden State almost doubling up Boston in steals at 11.5 to 6 per game for
Yeah.
the Celtics. Only
That
6 per game for the Celtics for a defense
that's
like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where's Marcus Smart been with the defense? I mean, let's see, in game 2, I'm looking see if I can find. Here it is. In game 2, he had one steal,
One
one
still,
steal.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's not looking too good.
No.
Blocks, Celtics got a slight advantage there, 6.5 to 4. Turnovers, 16 to 13, in favor of the lesser on the Warriors side. Field goal percentage both at 44 something percent here, 44.8 for Golden State, 44.2 for Boston. 3 point percentage in the ballpark of one another. Celtics have the advantage though, 46 to 41.5. Then free throw percentage, 78 to 71. You have those small discrepancies there in the shooting, but they're still pretty close. And this was on the road, so Boston coming home, if they can handle both. Draymond I've talked about the Warriors. Every time they're in the playoffs, they always are able to get a road game.
Yeah.
They're always able to get a road game. Well, doing a lot of talking right now. I mean, you let Jason Tatum and those boys get in rhythm back in Boston, the Garden can get rocking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, and just the added motivation to kind of stop them from getting a road game. If they did this, let's just say it goes to where the Warriors do not get a road game. So that series would finish in 6 if the Warriors happen to get one more win. So Boston get both at the crib, go up 3-1. Go back to Golden State, they get that one at their place. It's 3-2. Come back to Boston, boom, win it 4-2. Warriors don't win a road game in this series for the first time. There you go, Draymond. And it's over in 6 like that. So I very much think that is a possibility. The only way I think this can be pushed to 7, unless Clay decides to revive, which we'll get to him in a minute, uh, is if Golden State can get this first game, get game 3. They got to get game
Well,
3.
I'll tell you this, Drew, because we've watched a lot of Celtics basketball this postseason. the past two series, because they swept the Nets, which was really strange. Still strange to me. Um, but when you go back and look, Milwaukee took two games in Boston. Miami took two games in Boston. What the Celtics were able to do to win those series was winning on the road. And so, to me, even the I do think that the Garden will be rocking, and it will be a very good atmosphere. But even if Golden State wins two games, if Boston can continue to win on the road, then they could push it back to seven and still win the series. I'm not saying that Boston, if they get in a rhythm, is not going to win at all, but I wouldn't count out, Golden State's ability to win on the road, or for frankly Boston's ability to win on the road. I think this series, still we're still far away from seeing the end of the series. I It would not surprise me, Drew, if we're here next week talking about a do or die game six and the possibility of another game seven for the Celtics team that's played two series in a row with going the full distance.
I'd say, I hope we are, but I want this
Yeah,
series to end at six because I made a
that's
wager
true.
on
That's
it.
true.
But
That's true.
looking at looking at the shot charts for a couple of guys as we kind of transition into Clay Thompson. I'll start with Jason Tatum first, and his struggles. Talk about him being fine from beyond, from 3 point range. But seeing where his problems are, BJ, it's really right around this elbow area, right inside in the mid
Yeah.
range. Right around the free throw line. He's 0 for 7 in this
Mm,
series, and just inside the free throw line, he's 3 for 12. So like I said, and 1 for 3 at the rim. So in the paint, Jason Tatum is 4 for 15 in this series. He is 4 for 15 in this
that's
series.
gross.
That is very unlike Jason Tatum.
No.
If he starts hitting the stuff in the paint, man, he's gonna take off in this series. He's gonna really take off, and the Finals MVP will really be his to lose for
Yeah.
on Boston's side as far as them. If they are the ones to win it, he would get it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, his struggles are just where's his bread and butter usually is. Just right in there. The bunnies at the rim, layups, floaters inside, right inside the free throw line, and things like that, and elbow shots that he's usually easily doing some work on. So,
I can't expect
um,
that to be the case going forward. At least through these three games here in Boston,
yeah,
I really don't see that.
yeah. Yeah, and this stuff with the elbow, I mean, it's floating all around because he gets the low block or short corner stuff, do the fades like Kobe and things like that, and other
Yeah.
people who like the low post. But just in that area, he hasn't been able to knock it down at all in the mid, not one time so far. And transitioning to Clay, BJ, I got questions about Clay Thompson. Coming in here, we hasn't had any setbacks that we know of, and
No.
he's continuing to play. Like I said, that we know of.
Mm.
Teams like the Suns like to pop out news after the series talking about, oh, Chris Paul's hurt, oh, we had COVID outbreaks. All right, sure, but Clay Thompson's
Likely
still playing.
excuses.
Clay Thompson's still playing basketball, but he's not playing great basketball.
No.
He's really struggling early. I think he's trying to force it, trying to assert himself early.
Hmm.
Not shooting well from anywhere, kinda in the paint, from just inside the free throw line, but missing a couple at the rim that he's taken. 3 for 8 in the painted area. So not great, but not as bad as his 3 pointers right now.
Yuck.
Uh, you know,
4 of 15 in the first two
yeah,
games.
yeah, not looking good.
One
Hasn't.
of one of eight in game two, which is surprising that the Warriors were able to, get the win. But then you look at the contributions from Jordan Poole, from Steph
Yeah,
Curry, and that's where the difference is made up. But the Warriors, to their credit, have you take away the fourth quarter of game one, Drew, they could
yeah.
easily be up 2-0 right now, and Klay Thompson still hasn't figured it out. So that's a troubling sign if you're Boston, is that if Klay Thompson figures out whatever, does it whatever mental gymnastics he needs to do to get himself right and get his shot back here in the series, I mean, it could be over. It could
Who's
be easily over.
who's in more trouble? The Celtics if Clay Thompson gets it going, or the Warriors if Jason Tatum gets it going?
I still think the Celtics, even with
Really?
yes,
Okay.
I think the Warriors are just that deep. They've been scary good all postseason long. The contributions from Jordan Poole here in the postseason, he's really emerging himself as the new blood out there, and part of the new core that they're gonna build up once Steph and Clay and Draymond, those guys, they're aging. They're not this. We talked about last week with Reggie. Um, if this was kind of their last last
Hoorah.
ride, if you will, uh, for that aging core. But with Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, this is Warriors team. They figure some stuff out. Once they lose those guys, they could still be in contention.
Man, BJ, I'm gonna stand firm and say this: if Jason Tatum can get it going and start knocking down those shots in the paint and in the mid range, uh, this series is definitely over Celtics in six.
Mm,
If he continues at what he's doing right now and still struggling in the paint in the mid range, just kind of keeps the same pace, can still knock down threes somehow, but can't make the close shots, and Clay gets it going, I think it can go seven and go either way.
yeah,
But if Jason gets it going, I think it can get wrapped up because this is the time for him to get it going in Boston. And if he
yeah,
can't, like the nerves are realer than real.
yeah,
And you don't know. I think he's just gonna struggle the whole series if he can't get it going ASAP.
yeah,
But I hope he does. It'll make it a lot more fun. I hope they both get it going just to have
yeah.
some
At the
more
same
fun here.
time, yeah,
Yeah, because like Jalen Brown, he's still scoring, but he's not shooting most efficient either. Getting his buckets. The only one being efficient is Derek White, and Curry's doing his thing, but nobody else is. So, you know, we just want these teams to play at the best of their abilities, and we want
yeah,
the theme of these playoffs to be abolished, and
yeah.
having some close games. Something. I'll accept a 99-98 victory, if if everybody's just if
If
it's just
everybody's balling
defensive.
out,
Yeah, I like just give me some tight playoff finals basketball. Like I don't know, like game one of 2018 NBA finals,
yeah, yeah.
except for the ending.
What
Oh
are you
my
doing?
god.
What are you
What
doing?
why did I do that to myself? Why did I put that memory in my head?
Listen to some of these. The five starting five for Boston game two, Drew, all in the negatives. Tatum -36, Horford
Ugh.
-15,
Ugh.
Robert Williams -6, Marcus Smart -12, Jalen Brown -10. I mean, you even had, as you said, Derek White. He's been pretty efficient. -17 in game two. That's not great. So whatever the difference is, and also I'll give you Clay Thompson a 0. So, when you've got Looney and Curry that are plus 24, Wiggins plus 19, and then, Otto Porter Jr. plus 24, Gary Payton plus 15, and Clay's getting nothing,
BJ,
that's where we talked about with, him finding his shot.
what is something you think is for sure about games 3 and 4?
I think for sure you're going to see a raucous crowd, and I think for sure you're going to see each
I
team
said
get a
one thing.
win. Okay, I'll
I said
give you
one thing.
one thing then. I think each team gets a win. I think we see a split in the first two in Boston.
Okay. One thing I think I can say for sure is that Golden State won't win both.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think they will. I like you said, we talked about it before the series even started, Drew, and I think it gets at earliest it wrapped up in six. But I think
Series.
they're going to have to go back to San Francisco either
Yeah.
way.
So yeah, so it's either coming back tied in San Fran or down 3-1 to San Fran.
No, no, it'll be they're doing 2-3-2. So it'll be
Well,
somebody's going to be up 3-2 or it'll be over in Boston.
wait, what? No, hold on.
They're doing 2-3-2. So it's
Not
two
what
in
I'm
San
looking at.
Francisco. It should be two in San Francisco, three in Boston, and
Since they
then
won, I think it went back because I'm
so
looking at the bracket right now. It shows that the next two games are in Boston and
did they
game
change it
5
back?
and
Did they
game
change
5.
it back? I know for a long
It,
time they used to
I'm
do the 2-3-2 in the finals.
no, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like I think if with Boston's win in the first game, they got home court, but Warriors were able to take it back by winning game two. So I think they have it.
But I thought
I
for the
don't know,
I
yo.
thought for the finals it was 2-3-2 regardless. And I just looked and saw that Game 5 would be back in San Francisco. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm confused when they announced that because I don't remember hearing anything about when that changed, where they're going
Yeah,
back to the 2-2-1-1-1 as opposed to the 2-3-2.
yeah. But yeah, that's our scenario. So I think it'll be if Jason Tatum gets it going, Boston comes back to San Francisco up 3-1.
All
If he
right.
doesn't, I think comes back, and if and he stays kind of playing, it stays tied and comes back to San Fran tied 2-2.
You said you don't see any scenario where it's 3-1 Warriors going back home,
Correct.
even if Clay finds a shot.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to go at least 6. So I don't
I
think that
hope
they.
it does, BJ. No matter who wins, I've got it ending in 6, and I just need it to happen.
Well, it'll be fun, exciting for sure to watch, and
Yeah.
I think that I think we're going to get our money's worth in terms of as fans for this series. I'm hoping, like we talked about, that we see Clay and Tatum kind of find their rhythm and shake off the nerves or whatever it may be, so we get the best 5 game series that we get 4 to 5 games, so that Drew can cash out his bet, but the rest of the series, I want to see the best that we can see.
And BJ, one last question before we slide into a different topic.
Hmm.
Is this Steph Curry's best NBA Finals so far?
Yes, even better than 2015, I think. And a lot of people go with the revisionist history and think that he got kind of robbed of the MVP in 2015, and I still think that Andre Iguodala's contributions in that series was what put them over the top and why Iguodala deserved to be the Finals MVP that year. But I think if the Warriors can get some more from Klay Thompson and just keep themselves in the series. This is Curry's to lose right now, the way he's played in the first 2 games. And then for Boston, like you said, if Jason Tatum finds a shot and they win the series, I think it's his. I mean, I like what I've seen, from some of the contributors like Jaylen Brown, especially, and Derek White. But if Tatum finds a shot, to borrow quote a phrase, it's over for them fools, like you said. So
Man,
I think he'd be awarded the MVP.
to the Steph Curry point, and I guess I can pull up his 2015 as well. Let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Well,
Steph
I'll give you
20.
what he's done in the first 2 games. I know you know,
Oh,
but
hold on, hold on. I
yeah.
want to go. I want to go in order here.
Okay.
Okay, so Steph Curry 2015 NBA Finals line here for you, BJ.
Okay.
26, 5 rebounds, 6 assists on 44, 39, 89. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
2017, 27, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 39. Oh, wait, sorry. 44, 39, 90 splits. Okay?
And that was the year KD won it, right?
Right.
Gotcha.
First year Katie won it.
Yeah.
2018, 27.5 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 40, 42, and 100 splits.
And KD won it again that year.
And Katie won it again that year. And this year, BJ, 31, 5.5, 4.5. Let me hold on. Give me a second. I've got to go back to this page. Percentages. Hello. Boop, 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 boop. Be there in a second. Be there in a second. On 45, or actually 46, 46, 46, and 82 splits.
So not as well from the free throw line, but I still think I think this has been his best finals thus far. I mean, he's played what this is number 5 for him now,
Yes.
and this is the first without KD since 2016. You know, uh, so no, it would be number 6 because they lost in 2019.
Yeah, right.
So, but I
Wait,
mean, you
hold
talk
on.
about the 4 in a row,
Yeah, this is 6.
2019. Yeah.
Okay, you're right. You're right, right.
Um, so Yeah, I mean, I still think that this would be his best NBA Finals. I think that we talked about all the odds if this was Steph's time to shine if the Warriors won, and so far that's exactly what he's done. You could make the argument with how Jordan Poole did in Game 2 that he pretty much single handedly put that game away in the third quarter, and you'd be right. But I think when you look at what Steph did in Game 1 versus Jordan Poole's outburst in Game 2 with everything, I still would give a Finals MVP to Steph right now. Now, if Jordan Poole goes absolutely absurd in the next three and they finish it off in five, for instance, or whatever, then you could make the argument for Jordan Poole because not just for Finals MVP, but for playoffs MVP because of what he was able to do. While Steph Curry was getting back to 100% and keeping this Warriors team going, and you see how far they've been able to go, and they took out the Nuggets in five, they took out you know the Grizzlies in six, and then they took out the Mavs in five. It's in large part because they added another splash bro, if you will, and Jordan Poole has really emerged this postseason as one of their big guys, big names going forward that they're going to build around once Curry, Clay, and Draymond all head out to greener pastures.
Right, right. Well, he's back. A pretty good favorite to win the Finals MVP again. To open the series, he was minus 100 and something. Then after game two, he was plus 100 and something. Now he's back in the minus. So
Hmm.
they've got confidence in Steph that if Golden State wins it, it's definitely his. Which I mean, look at the points
Yeah,
per game discrepancy. He's the only one scoring 20 plus, let alone 30 plus. So
yeah,
it's kind of his to lose really at this point. BJ, once this series ends in six, I'm ready for those NBA champs to be crowned.
yeah.
Join that finals action, BJ, with DraftKings Sportsbook. I know you like to play a little bit. An
Oh
official
yeah.
sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA bet and get $150 in free bets instantly.
Yeah, Drew. I mean, we were talking the other night. My basketball bet didn't hit, but I got one in the game for the seam heads. I got a baseball bet to hit, and so that was nice. But
There you go.
don't worry, I turned a small bet into a big payday, and you can do the same thing during the NBA Finals with a DraftKings same game parlay. This season, a customer placed a $5 same game parlay and won over $5,000. You can create your own parlay by combining multiple bets like which team will win, the total three-pointers made, total rebounds, and more, and boom, you have a shot at an even bigger payout.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Make any $5 bet during the NBA Finals and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code TBPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, Drew, we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk some WNBA. We're
Ooh,
going to talk some action here over the past week in just a moment, but we have our first coaching change of the season, Drew. As you mentioned in our open, Derek Fisher and the Los Angeles Sparks have agreed to part ways. It's not been exactly the start to the season for the Sparks that they would have wanted at this point, but they haven't been playing too bad at basketball. But they decided at this point it was the right time to make the as you mentioned, the divorce. And so my question to you then is where did the Sparks go for the rest of this year, making a coaching change, essentially mid-season? Is it it's not too early to give up on the season, but is it one of those that at this point you're kind of looking around like trying to find a helping hand in the ocean almost to pull you back to shore? Where do the Sparks go from here for the rest of the season while they look for the next head coach?
Well, they won't be looking until the off season. Usually, they grab an assistant and make them the
Hmm.
interim throughout the rest of the course of the season. And what better interim head coach than my man, Fred Williams, former head coach of the Dallas Wings, who's been an
Yeah.
assistant there for the past couple of years. It might be three now that I think about it. But yeah, Fred Williams going to be the one taking over. So I mean, you know it's they still need to find a GM. They do
Hmm.
because Derek Fisher had that role as well. So a
Yeah.
GM is something that they're looking for currently. But the head coach position, you don't have to worry about sinking. Once you get Fred Williams back at the helm to
Yeah.
coach the squad, that he's got familiarity with one of the players. In Liz, that was the reason she came to Dallas originally because she wanted
Hmm.
to play for Fred, and it was definitely a bonus, for her going out to LA that Fred was there as well, whether he was the head coach or not. She has a lot of love for
Yeah.
Fred, and last time she played under Fred BJ, she was second in MVP voting. So they
Look at that.
definitely have good coach player chemistry
Yeah.
together, and definitely. He'll probably play Kennedy Carter a little bit more. Kennedy is showing how much of a problem she can be on the court when she is used. Check this out, BJ.
Okay.
In games where Kennedy Carter plays 16 plus minutes, the Sparks are 5-1. In
Like
games
that.
in games where she plays less than 16 minutes, BJ, they're 0
Winless.
and 6.
Mm.
They're 0 and 6. So Kennedy Carter effect is real out in the court. We all know she's a hooper.
Yeah.
She just needed the right environment. There was a little bit of possible rift early, but it seems that's been patched up, and she's been playing good basketball. And the more she plays, the better the team is. It looks like, as the results show. If Kennedy Carter played a lot more, the Sparks might be one of the top teams in the league. So it could be that simple of a turnaround. Like, that's all they need is more Kennedy Carter, and Fred Williams can be like, "All right, you're about to play 30 minutes a game. Here you go, or 25, whatever." So, um, it's definitely going to help out. I don't know what kind of regime he's going to run. He likes to do kind of a high low thing. Kind of how he used to run it with Liz and Sky, point guard, and then the
Hmm.
height at the center down there. So it'll be kind of a Jordan Canada, Lexi Brown outside dynamic with Liz and NECA and all that. And he's still
Yeah.
got pieces you can kick it out to. Katie Lou at the three on the dribble drive and things like that. So the Sparks, I mean, they'll probably finally reach their potential with Derek Fisher gone. There's a lot of LA fans out there who have been wanting Fisher gone for a while now. And, he's just proven that year after year, the team doesn't get better under his regime. If you want to be a little bit more picky on Derek Fisher, ever since he joined, he picked up a really good LA Spark team. And, that first year they went 22-12.
Yeah.
Good record, right? Playoffs, uh, saw some playoff games, multiple playoff games that first year.
Yeah.
2020, the bubble year, 15-7. Not a bad record, but
No.
not a great,
Bubble made everything, a little bit
yeah,
with
not a great
everything.
ending
No.
either. And your first round out in your playoff series, and that was when you lost Candace Parker.
Yeah.
Then fast forward 2021, team continues to get less wins and more losses. 12-20 last year,
Yeah. That's right.
pretty bad. No playoffs. And this year,
Not great.
starting off on the wrong foot, 5-7 was eventually going to kind of be going down that same path, probably.
Yeah.
Under the same regime. So, they saw the writing on the wall in LA. At least they finally decided to get it out of the way. They should have done it probably before the season. But a lot of the moves that they made, he might have been a part of, so that helped kind of form this team. Maybe this was all a part of the plan to begin with. Um, in a way that, if he succeeded early on with this team doing it his way, he would get to stay. But if not, he knew the deal and they would cut him, relatively early.
Well, this
I feel like
ESPN,
that's. Go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say this ESPN article that I'm reading says that he was always supposed to leave LA midseason because he took an associate head coaching job at Auburn. But a source
Okay.
told ESPN he now intended to leave for Auburn following the WNBA season uh, until the move was made. So, um, I guess there was some, he
Probably some
was he was going he
agitation.
was he was going to stick it out until the Sparks decided that they needed to make the change now. Maybe he had, maybe he was trying to do both jobs at the same time and not fully investing in one or the other, and his attentions were elsewhere. That's a possibility, but and it's not for me to speculate on that. But now he will get to go ahead and start a little bit earlier and down there in Auburn, getting ready for
Yeah.
that season in November.
Yeah, I see that. See that now. Shout out to Alexa on the write up. She's a
Yeah,
phenomenal writer at ESPN.
absolutely.
But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But his writing was on the wall anyway. He had the hottest seat in the league coming into the season. I'm surprised they started with him, but I think that he was a part of those moves and those acquisitions and trades during the summer. Um, that they kept that going.
Yeah.
Just kind of stay on. It's just weird that it's a plan to leave mid-season. Like, what if the team was rocking, like playing really well, like in a real rhythm under Derek Fisher, and he finally got things turned around? Would he still leave? I mean, he
Well,
would
I
kind of
think
have
that
to,
yeah,
but
I think that that was it was originally like before the season, and then he decided to wait until the end of the WNBA
yeah,
season.
I feel like the inside of the Sparks organization sees the talent within this team and was just like, you know what? Instead of that mid-season stuff, let's go ahead and do this now because we could possibly make the playoffs with this
Yeah,
team.
they're the
So
eight seed right now, Drew.
yeah, they have a lot of talent, and just you gotta start playing. I mean, Fred might have him play a different brand of basketball. Who knows? But you definitely play Kennedy Carter more. You can see that it helps. But yeah,
Only a
Sparks.
third of the way into the season, so there's still
Yeah,
plenty of stuff to be decided. So it's
definitely.
honestly, in my opinion, better now if you're going to make the change to do it before you get like another 12 games in, and then you realize, well, we're not going to do anything. Let's punt the rest of the season away. So doing this now still gives them a chance to get back in the postseason. Gives as you mentioned, Coach Fred. Uh, Ability to run his schemes and everything like that. And let's see what we can see from the rest of the Sparks this year.
I think they'll look good, BJ.
I think so too.
I got faith in it, and even though like this doesn't tell the whole story, but Derek Fisher coaching record in the WNBA 54-46.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't tell the story. They'll be like, well, he was over 500. Well,
But it
I
was in
mean,
large part because of that first season being so good.
yeah, and then having some of the hangover players from his first season going into the Bradenton year. But once he lost that, had injury problems last year, and nobody just ever bought into D-Fish. So I mean, it's what it is. But New York Liberty, you talked about being a third of the way into the season, plenty of
Hmm.
time to turn things around. This team is trying to turn things around now, BJ. Before we
Yeah.
get into the dynamics of the team, had a little bit of some wild things going on at their last home game. Topless abortion rights protesters stormed the court
Ooh.
at the New York Liberty WNBA game. So they were parading around messages, my body, my choice, written on their torsos. So the Liberty had some activity to take care of at their last game.
Yeah,
Protesters were out
you've
there,
seen
but
that in the NBA playoffs. You've seen that now in the
yep,
WNBA season. You're seeing a lot more on court protests, and I mean, for me, I can't really say that I don't think they should be protesting. I just don't think that's the right place for it because when you're interrupting, the event, and it's just going to create a mess for whomever, whichever team is dealing with it. Because you saw was it in yeah, it was in Minnesota, the woman that chained herself to the basket.
oh yeah, 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 I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, I fully, I think it's fantastic to go out there and have your voice heard and everything. But obviously when you get into the minutia of where and when you're doing this,
right.
that's for me.
Now to the basketball side of things.
Yeah.
Liberty's starting to actually try and win some games now.
Yeah.
Nothing to really marvel at, but they've had a lineup change to start off June, and it's really started working for them. They've been competitive.
Yeah,
Obviously won some games. They're
3 of
just
their last 4.
right, only one game back of those Sparks that we were just talking about, and in 4-8 when we thought they were going to be remaining at the bottom of the league with how badly they started off chemistry wise and trying to put this new ship together. Um, but they figured it out. They've brought
Yeah,
in Crystal Dangerfield. They have her starting at the point guard and have moved Sabrina to the two, and Sabrina is playing a lot better for it.
yeah,
Really had a big night recently. Almost made history and didn't miss a single shot, but she missed one.
yeah,
Um, it was an 88-69 blowout victory over the Lynx, and Sabrina went 10 for 11 from the field, and was shooting from near the logo,
yeah.
doing some crazy stuff
She
in
had
that
a
game.
half court buzzer beater. It's in the first half, and then she hit another one
Yep.
in the third quarter that was almost not the same spot, but just inside their half court from around the logo, as you mentioned. She
Yeah.
was shooting lights out. I mean, she's gone over 20 or more each of these last 4 games. It was since they made that change, and you've seen them win 3 of their 4. This is the first time she's ever scored 20 or more in her career for the Liberty. So getting her producing big time numbers like this is what we were kind of expecting to see earlier from the Liberty, and finally maybe now we're seeing it, and it's not too late. As we mentioned, there's still a lot of basketball to be played, and if the Liberty continue to play as well as they have been the past 4 games, they've still got plenty of time to sneak in and get themselves into a relatively good seed even.
Yeah, she was flirting with a triple double in
Mm-hmm.
that game. BJ 26, 8 and 8.
Yeah.
As I said, only missed the one shot in the blowout victory. Um, she's been a plus 15.83. We'll get real specific with that number.
0.83.
It's the According to Mark Schlender of WNBA.com and Basketball News, it's the difference in points scored per 100 possessions with Sabrina Ionescu playing alongside Crystal Dangerfield versus when Dangerfield is on the bench.
Mm.
Uh, she is finding the ball more while playing off of it, and we thought that at least of all the players, a lot of players that you think are point guards, BJ, like people that you think are point guards, especially with the style of play Sabrina had with the
Mm-hmm.
kind of Westbrooky doing everything, assisting,
Yeah.
rebounding, triple doubles and whatnot. I never saw her being able to kind of shift to the two and play that really well. And she's played it really well, and she's still kind of playing her same brand of basketball. And like I just said, she's still finding the ball, playing off of it, as Schlender illustrates in this
Mm-hmm.
piece for BasketballNews.com. Um,
Yeah.
but she's her transition to the two spot and Dangerfield being out there and them having good chemistry together has really kind of sparked the Liberty lately into
Yes.
winning some games. So prior to Monday's game, she was averaging 16 points, 5.5 rebounds, 4.6 assists, while only shooting 34.3% from three through 11 games. She wasn't doing great.
No.
And heck, let me check it. Let me check the field goal percentage while we're going ahead and checking all of that stuff. Um, Talked about her 3 point percentage. The field goal percentage is not bad.
No.
The rest of it's not bad, but those threes, and she's shooting a lot of them this year, hoisting up just as many as her first year, actually 6 a game. Um, uh, but shooting it a little bit more efficiently, but still, um, and that's only coming from this recent game that's brought her up to 37. As I just said, it was 34 before that, but
Yeah. And you
she's
look back at these last 4 games, Drew. It's I'm not going to necessarily say that the quality of opponent has gone downhill, but you played the Lynx twice, you played the Fever once, and then they did get a win over the Mystics. That's probably their best win in this 4 game stretch, but they really, they could have gone 4-0 in this stretch of games, and they'd be right there in a tie with the Sparks right now. Just that 7 point loss on Sunday at home to the Lynx, and then kind of getting their revenge on Tuesday night with the big blowout win. The It's not necessarily the quality of the opponent or anything like that, but you do have to acknowledge that, you know, three of those games, three of the four games, including the one they lost, were against teams that are at the bottom of the standings right now.
Yeah.
So let's see for, for the Liberty's sake, they've got another game against the Fever coming up on Friday, and then I think on Sunday they get to play Sky. Yeah, so they've got Chicago coming in on Sunday. Let's see how they do against the defending champs, and if they can do as well as they have been in the past four games going forward the rest of the weekend, and if they pull off a win over the Sky even, they can still make the playoffs.
If
It's not even out of the realm of possibility.
if they can somehow if they can somehow get both
Yeah.
going into Monday, then that would be huge for them.
Yeah, and I think the way they've been playing, they're certainly capable of it. I think they'll at worst go 1-1, but I think they really, if they want to be in the playoffs, they need to get both.
Right. Speaking of playoffs, a team we didn't maybe necessarily expect to be in the playoffs going into the year, the Atlanta Dream, are very much in the thick of things with Ryan Howard
Yeah.
leading things, tied for fourth in the WNBA standings right now, just one game back behind the defending champion Chicago Sky and two behind Connecticut. Atlanta Dream, they're interesting.
Yeah.
They're interesting, and Ryan Howard has really led the charge for the team here. They have a winning record on both the road and at home, so
Mhm.
they're able to win both places. You're able to get them at both places depending on how things shake out. But Ron Howard's really leading this team, and the supporting cast is really supporting, and Kay Wallace has been a revelation. Been able to start and play a lot of minutes for Atlanta early on. They just got a new player after a trade. Shout out to my friend Spencer Nosbaum at the Next Hoops,
That's
my
right.
former. The Liberty have traded Asia Durr to the Atlanta Dream for Megan Walker. And, let me go get this name again. I had it in my head. Megan Walker and Raquel Carrera. Uh, so Asia Durr gets a chance to get a little bit more action, and Atlanta
Mhm.
be another spark off the bench for them, which they could use.
Yeah.
And Asia not really getting the fairest shake after coming back. They had already traded for this Myritta players. They had players that had already established themselves, and Asia didn't kind of come in and really get a chance after missing since the Bradenton, Florida year in her second year going into the league. But hopefully she finds more opportunity in Atlanta and can be a part of a team that's in playoff contention and can hopefully stay there, for the rest of the season. But Atlanta's been fun.
Yeah.
Erica Wheeler got hurt in their last game. She's day to day, so we'll keep an eye on that. I think she might also be sick. I don't know, but we'll keep an eye on them. They still have plenty of players. Ariel McDonald might start. Who knows? Who knows how it's
Yeah.
going to go? But Atlanta's still playing well under first year coach Tanisha Wright, and I'm liking it. I can't wait to
Yeah.
check them out again. They did have a little struggle game against someone recently. Who was that? What team did they just play? The Sky.
Yeah.
Ryan Howard had a tough night, 2 for 12. Cheyenne Parker had to lead the way that one with 19 points, but you'll have that every now and then. I mean, this is another new batch of players being led by a rookie. So I mean, if the rookie is going to have a tough night, and that's your star in this league, who's arguably an all-star this year, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you just kind of
Yeah.
have to deal with it and keep on pushing. Um,
And then they just last on Tuesday they just lost out in Seattle, but I don't know if that's just because of how long of a trip that is, going to the Pacific Northwest from Atlanta. But Howard had 11 and was not the leading scorer. They got some contributions from Cheyenne Parker, as you mentioned, and but with Erica Wheeler getting hurt, that probably didn't help
right.
in that game.
Yeah. What are you liking from the Dream so far, BJ? And is Ryan Howard deserving of being an All Star in her first season?
I like what I've seen. How they've come together playing as a team. a lot of people, as we talked about, didn't expect this from them through the first third of the season, for them to, still be in the thick of it for the playoffs and still be a team that is, has a winning record even. Probably a lot of people expected them to maybe be in an Indiana type situation where they're just
Yeah.
trying to figure things out and getting some more experience. But Howard has come in and, she leads the team in scoring, so far. She has just been, you know, playing lights out to this point. Almost 16 a game is just phenomenal from her. And so, I think if they keep winning like they have been, and playing as well as they have with her, I think she should be in the All Star game. Even if she's coming off the bench, I think she's absolutely deserving. As we talked about, the storylines with them coming and performing as they have this year, almost out of not out of nowhere, but almost out of nowhere. I want to reward her. She is deserving in my book of getting to the All Star game. Maybe I'm a softie, but
I'm regretting trading her in fantasy earlier this season. I mean, my team is still winning, but
mm,
still, I would have liked to have had Ryan Howard at this point. I've actually tried to send a trade to try and get her back, so I will let y'all know how that
ooh,
goes. If I'll be able to get her back, I
sounds a
don't
bit
know if I
desperate,
will.
Drew.
Yeah, but I mean, she's hooping, man.
Yeah, that's
Got
true.
29 fantasy points a game, six for guards
Yeah,
in fantasy so far. So I mean, that's a player you kind of need on your team. But no, I've
absolutely.
still got a good host of talent. So we'll see. Maybe he'll bite on my trade offer. Diane Taurasi started playing a little bit better basketball again. She's averaging just short of 27, 11th amongst guards after another burst 30 piece against golly, who was this? Against LA,
Yeah,
or actually 30 piece in fantasy. She had a 30 piece against Connecticut the game before that. So, but
yeah.
35 and 51 in fantasy the past couple of games. So she's getting it up there for me. But one of these episodes, maybe the next one, we'll talk a little bit more about this fantasy stuff. I've got
Hmm.
multiple leagues going right now. We'll be halfway through the season by the time we get back next year
Man,
or
yeah,
next week. Because there's
yeah,
only 10 regular season fantasy weeks. So
yeah.
um, and I'm 3-1 so far, so we'll see how it's
Look at
going.
that.
I took down an undefeated last week, and I'm facing another one, the only other one this week. So, man, we'll see what we can do. I'm up by
Do it again,
one
man.
after
Do
the
it
first
again.
game day. Yeah, we'll
Do it
see.
again, man.
We shall see. And BJR Dallas Wings sitting at 6 in the standings. I didn't get to see the last game. I was at my nephew's birthday party, but I'm
Birthday.
gonna have to double back on that Aces game. Asia Wilson fouled out early. Only had like I don't know 9 points, 6 rebounds, something like that. A really weird game because of the fouling situation.
8.7 boards, but yeah,
There you go, pretty bad. And Dallas still muffed it up and let Kelsey Plum go for like 30, 35 plus in the game.
yeah.
So,
32. Yeah,
yeah, I'm going to hopefully get a chance to rewatch that back before Friday and see what my Wings got as they host Seattle for a pair this weekend.
that's right.
I don't know if Seattle plays again. We'll see if I can check really quick. Seattle plays again before they visit Dallas.
No,
They don't.
no, they're not
Okay.
playing tonight, so they'll be here Friday.
Okay, so we're tied in the standings. If we split the weekend 1-1, we'll still be tied for sixth.
Yeah,
If Dallas sweeps it, they'll be 8-5, and Seattle will be 6-7, which will be interesting. And if it goes
very
one and
interesting.
one, both teams will be 6-6. Um,
Yeah,
Dallas has a very Dallas doesn't have a history of getting both often. It's usually
no,
lose one,
win one.
fix your mistakes, or win one, and the other team fixes their mistakes and beats you down.
Yeah,
Um, so we'll see how this goes, but Dallas holding firm for right now. Things are getting a little bit tighter as a lot of teams are starting to kind of figure some things out.
yeah. This is their first home game. We talked about a couple weeks back, and now finally the long road trip is over, and they do get to host a game again. So we'll see, because it's been a while since they've hosted a game. They'll get to finally get another home game. First
This
time
how
in 7 games.
no this is how many home games they have this month. Seven.
7. It's a lot.
7. Yeah, two this weekend. Ace is on Wednesday, Mercury Friday, and then Sparks the next Sunday. Then Fever Thursday, Mercury on that Saturday. It's a lot.
Lot of stuff coming up this 3 weeks period for the Dallas Wings. A lot of home games, so
Yep, three games a week the next couple of weeks for them.
you like it.
That's how it goes. Probably time to play a little game.
Little game.
Little game.
All right, a little game. Okay,
Bow.
that's this called With It or Quit It.
It is. It is indeed.
With It or Quit It, and it's basically, if you're new to the show, what are you doing? Well, thank you for being here as we celebrate our 50th episode. Drew, you told me before the show, the big 5-0.
5-0.
Yeah, 10 in season one, 40 here in season two, and still going strong. We'll see what we do before we shift gears and get to a third season. But all right, Drew, 5 questions for you. I'm going to give you five, maybe not necessarily hot opinions, but I'm just going to give you 5 opinions that I may or may not share. But I just kind of wrote some stuff up, and well, here we go. We'll start off with number one.
Okay.
Okay. The first one, are you with it or quit it that when Texas and Oklahoma join the SEC in a few years, the SEC should protect their rivalries and go to a 9 game, 3 guaranteed opponent and 6 rotating opponent schedule every season? So essentially, if you're Texas, you get to protect your rivalry with Oklahoma. You could bring back the Texas A&M rivalry, and then you could even throw in an annual matchup with Arkansas every year while you rotate the rest of the SEC. 6 opponents one year, the other 6 the other year, and then do it all again the next 2 years. There's been basically 2 schedule formats that a lot of people have talked about that they're still deciding between. The other one would be 8 games, keeping the divisions, or not keeping divisions. I'm sorry, 8 games conference schedule, but only 1 guaranteed opponent that you play every year and 7 rotating games.
The first one.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. So that would be with it.
So I'm with it.
All
Okay.
right, I'm with it too, Drew. To me, it's surprising that it's taken this long for them to realize that, going forward, how they market their games, this is the best way. This is the only way that I think makes the most amount of sense for them to have the most, you know, attention and money coming from those games is to go to that schedule. And I think that if they really realistically listen to, well, us and most of the rest of the internet, then that's what they'll do.
And you got to realize how big that Red River rivalry is. It's a big
Yeah.
deal, not only in that sport, but obviously it's about to go down in softball tonight. So it's a big deal across all sports.
Yeah, that's right.
Big
You're kind of
deal.
getting ahead of me on one of those, but we'll come back to that.
Okay.
But I mean, you think about it, like if they only had 1 guaranteed opponent, you could have like Florida and Georgia play every year, but not Florida and Tennessee. Alabama and Auburn would play every year, but not Auburn and Georgia. You'd be getting rid of some of your best rivalries that make the game so much fun if you only do 1 guaranteed opponent every year.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only thing that realistically makes the most amount of sense. All right, Drew, number 2, shifting gears a little bit. The better snack cracker is Goldfish as opposed to Cheez Its. With it or quit it?
Quit it, bro. Cheese Its all day.
Ooh,
Easy. Easy.
easy.
Hot and
Really?
spicy every day of the week. And I will accept the regular ones too. Some of the other flavors they try to mix up is a little too much, but hot
Have
and
you ever had the white
spicy.
cheddar?
Yeah, okay. I've had the white cheddar. They're not bad.
I like the
They're
white
better
cheddar,
than
yeah.
the original.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's
but
bold.
nah, hot,
Hot and spicy. Okay.
hot and spicy's goaded. Cheez-Its are goaded.
All right. So Cheez Its are better
And
according to
honestly,
Drew.
even back in the day, like between those little fish snacks, I used to
Mhm.
like whales more than goldfish.
Oh, I forgot about
Whales
whales.
were so good.
They were, dude.
My 6th grade teacher used to sell them. I bought her little snacks all the time, eating
Yeah.
whales in class.
What was the one that was like the chicken biscuit snack crackers? You remember those?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
I
Those
didn't
are
have
good
those.
too.
Next.
All right. All right, number 3. All right, Drew. Let's see how much you know about the sport of golf. Have you heard of the LIV?
The LIV?
Yeah. So the LIV is basically a PGA Tour competitor that is just starting up. They've been able to steal away some of the top golfers in the game, like
Oh no.
Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson. They didn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I saw
They
that.
wanted to. They wanted to try to bring Tiger over and have
Right,
him be
I
the
heard about
face
this
of.
this morning. They tried to
Yeah.
pay him a certain amount, but he can't
Yeah.
play that many. He can't play that much. So,
Yeah, he's not even going to be part of the U.S. Open as he continues to rehab and try to be back for the Open Championship, aka British Open. Anyway, so within 5 years, Drew, the LIV will continue to steal away more of the PGA's top golfers and will be the more successful league within 5 years. With it or quit it?
I don't know how much money they have. It sounds like they got a lot of money.
Yeah, they do.
If they got more money, then I'm gonna say with it. 'Cause I mean, golf, it's arguable that some golfers are underpaid. Um, and, people are getting a little bit more into golf too. So
And this,
I
I think
don't.
this is part of why, when you've got
Yeah,
kind of the the back and forth with these two competing leagues, it's as opposed to just having the Colonial on
I think it
CBS
would be
every
good for
weekend.
the sport of golf to have a competitor like that
Yeah,
jump in the fold, whether it's stealing some of golf's best, but like, that means the rest of these golfers need to step up.
yeah.
So, I'm down.
All right.
I'm
So
with it.
Drew is with it that in 5 years the LIV will be the more successful league. All right, Drew, number four. The best adult animated cartoon series is the show set in the town of South Park, Colorado. With it or quit it?
Quit it.
Quit it, really.
You love South Park that much?
I'm not saying I love it. I do enjoy it.
I
I,
don't. I haven't. I don't. I'm not as addicted to it as everybody else. I think there's a lot of other better shows out there. I actually haven't even. I can't say I've watched a full season's worth of South Park because I've just watched, I don't know, some cool episode pops up or some funny one I'm supposed to watch it. I don't know. I can't even. Oh, I can't get these words out right now.
yeah, you
South Park
can.
South Park is good, but like, there's no way you could get me to sit there and watch it. Like, I don't have the attention span or the want to sit
Really.
there and watch South Park. Like,
Hmm.
I have watched it before, but I'm not gonna sit down and turn it on. No, I'd rather
Okay.
watch some other things or rewatch something else before turning on South Park.
Do you watch any like adult animated cartoon show
Give me some examples. Are you talking about like
like
Dragon Ball
Family Guy,
Z,
The Simpsons,
Naruto?
like that
Anime.
those
Sorry.
this that's what I mean. Like
Yeah, Family
Beavis and
Guy.
Butthead, Rick
I've,
and
I've
Morty. You can make the argument.
I used to watch Family Guy and American Dad.
Hmm.
I don't know what else there are. I didn't
I
watch the
mean,
Cleveland show. I probably would have if I was still watching TV at the time.
yeah.
Um, but
Essentially, like it's the cartoon shows that are like adult themed, as opposed to like Dragon Ball Z can be enjoyed by kids and adults without most of the jokes flying over the
so you are
kids'
counting
heads.
Dragon Ball Z.
No, I'm saying that would not count
Oh,
because
okay.
that's something that a kid could watch and still enjoy. What meanwhile, no adult in their right mind would let a kid watch an episode of Family Guy or South Park for that instance.
Fair. Okay. But no, I think I like Family Guy better. I will say that.
Okay, alrighty, fair enough. Fair enough. We get some hot takes on this show, so
Hot take.
no, no. I'm saying that's why I was trying to give you. I said that to see what your opinion is, see what you like, and if I don't think that's necessarily as hot a take, but all right, Drew, you ready for number five?
I'm ready.
Okay. You mentioned it earlier, Red River rivalry in the Women's College World Series. So, Drew, the Texas women's softball team will take down number one Oklahoma twice in the best of three and become the first unseeded team to ever win the Women's College World Series. With it or quit it?
My heart says with it. but my brain probably says quit it.
Oh,
I don't know, cause just like I don't know, I'm nervous. We're not supposed
yeah,
to be here,
yeah.
and we just luckily just got here.
I don't know if you'd say it was luck. I mean, you
Okay,
went out and beat some really good teams in the process. Took out two national seeds in the regional and the super regional. Took out teams like UCLA, or I don't. Yeah, I think y'all beat UCLA, and then knocked out Oklahoma State in the semifinals. So,
right.
and you do have a win over Oklahoma, who's only lost 3 games all season long. So,
But
you
they're
know
playing some good softball right
that is
now.
true. I mean, it's a lot to ask for 2 wins out of 3, but
Man, you know what? I'm gonna just homer with it. I'm gonna say Longhorns in 3
all
to
right.
redeem ourselves in the Red River rivalry after getting embarrassed in football.
All right.
Hook 'em.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, that one. Well, it was a little bit embarrassing. I was gonna say that was a good game.
It was
Past couple of
embarrassing.
years have been really good games at football. So just
We were down by like 30. I think we came back and then ended up losing by like I don't know 7 or something. Is that game?
was that last year, 2021?
I think. I don't know.
I thought y'all were up big last year, and then Oklahoma came back and won.
Ah, am I backwards?
Yeah, I think it was 2020 was the year that y'all were trailing, and then it went into like 4 overtimes.
Super ugly game.
But last year was the year that was looking like Oklahoma was getting in field goal range, and then the walk off touchdown run, or like touchdown with like a less with a second left or something like
Dang, now I'm interested. Let me go back. I
that.
don't remember what it was. Okay, no, yeah, it was us. We were dominating. Yeah,
Yeah,
we were done. Yeah, that's why it was an embarrassment, BJ, because we had it wrapped and we let them come back. 25 in the fourth, bro. 25 in
oh,
the fourth. That's gross.
not great,
Why
not
did I
great.
just dig up these old memories? Ugh. All right, yeah. Hook them in 3 though. Let's go.
All right, and that Drew is with it or quit it, and that's gonna do it for the Big 5-0.
Yeah. All right. 50th episode, BJ. Can you
50th.
believe that? 10
No,
episodes in the first season, 40 in this one, and we're at a 50 burger.
we're 50 burger man.
Do you
I
have any
mean,
words for the people after our 50th episode?
well, I mean, it's a big milestone. I will say that. I do want to say that those that consistently come in week out, whether it's live or whether they check us out on the different platforms we're on, Apple, Spotify. I do appreciate that every week, and getting the social media interaction. I'd love to see it boosted, but I'm also not wanting my phone to be always binging at me. So that's I mean I only kid, of course. So yeah, I do want to say to everyone that does listen on a weekly basis that we do appreciate it more than you will know, and just thank you for continuing to come in week out and listen to both of us talking hoops. I mean, I I'm really grateful, and I would imagine Drew is the same.
That's right, Beach, and especially to those people that have actually listened to what would be all 50 episodes.
Hmm.
Those subscribers out there, shout out to you guys that want to check out those special episodes and those special interviews, those special conversations. I know we had, an extensive unintentional hiatus, after our first season and then kind of came back, towards the end of this year. What was it, October, November, something like that, BJ? But we've enjoyed being back, getting to do all the episodes, and really kind of blow through this second season here. Um, not sure where the stopping point is yet in season 2. It might be 50 episodes. If I can talk, might be 50 episodes, and then just kick off season 3 with a bang and some new stuff. Maybe an exclusive BJ segment that's just his that he takes
Look at
over. So
that.
a
Maybe.
lot of things coming, coming to mind for new stuff for season 3. But
Yes, sir.
definitely appreciative over the first couple of seasons, and shouts to all the guests who gave us their time, and all the athletes who came on, all the media that came on, everybody
Yeah.
that joined us, all our consistent listeners, ones that stayed through from season 1. Shout out to you guys for sticking it out those months that we were gone, and in football and whatnot. So we won't leave you this time in football season. Promise
Yes.
we'll be here. We're not playing each other this year, so
Yeah.
we
Maybe
get
for the
to.
best.
Yeah, I don't want to lose again, so I'm glad I'm not playing you guys. But yeah, we still got plenty more in store for you guys, and the best is yet to come for the lowdown.
For sure.
Yes, indeed. Well, guys, you know what to do. Go follow us on all those social platforms that we're on, that Twitter, that Instagram at _lowdown. That's THA_lowdown on Twitter and Instagram. And follow us on both these platforms that we just streamed live from. That is Twitch and YouTube at the lowdown, no underscore on those platforms. Got clips coming up, coming before the next recording of this episode going over the weekend. So be on the lookout for some of the clips from this episode. And hey, here's the 50 more.
Here's to 50 more and a whole lot more beyond that.
Yes, indeed. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.